Good morning, LinkedIn family. It's a welcome Wednesday, and I really like welcoming new connections and welcoming them through Coffee with Bob. Um, I think it's a great opportunity for you to learn about somebody new. It's a great opportunity to connect, follow, and engage with somebody new. It's all about building your network, right? So that's what Coffee with Bob is all about. So today, I'd like to introduce you to Lisa, and I'm going to say her last name wrong. I knew I was going to do it. Duerre, like Duerre, right?
Yay!
Lisa Duerre. Yeah, there you
You
go.
got it, Bob. Awesome. Thank you. Happy to be here. Lisa Duerre rhymes with jury, right?
There
It's
you
easy
go.
to
Yeah,
remember that
that
way.
worked for
Yeah.
me. I'm really happy to be here, have you be here with me for a couple of reasons. One, if you're not connected to Lisa, if you're not following her, if you're not engaging with her, you really need to. She's got some great content, and it's content that's near and dear to my heart because I'm in IT, and she talks about technology burnout, right? So, Lisa, I don't want to steal your thunder. I'm going to toss it over to you. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing and what you're all about.
First of all, Bob, I just have to, I would like to acknowledge and appreciate that this platform that you provide. The
Oh,
thing that I know to be true is that we are always one connection away from the greatest gift, right? And I think that's something you believe in too. So I got connected to you through Dr. Irene Kopp, which just means the world to me. And so to be here today to talk to you about what our business does, my company is called RLD Group. I'm the CEO and co-founder. What we do, why we do it, and you and I in just 5 minutes, we're already like we have so much to
yeah.
say. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm thrilled to be here. What would you like me to talk about? How could I best support your audience today?
Give us a little bit. I mean, the best way to support it now, because we don't know who's watching, right?
Mhm.
So the best way to support it now is give us an idea of who you are and what you're doing.
Awesome.
And
Well,
it's
how
okay for
about
me to say it's important, but I think
yeah,
hearing it from
yeah.
you is probably best.
Well, why don't I start with the story then? And I'll be brief, but I think it will illustrate a point in which will take us into why I do what I do. But there was a time when I was in the emergency room after working late one night, and I had my laptop with me. I was in the emergency room because I thought I was having a heart attack. The next day, I had a very important presentation to be done, and my slides weren't ready. And I was in the emergency room with a colleague who decided to drive me because I said to her at 7 o'clock at night,
I
I
gotta
think
go.
I'm going to go to the emergency room. She's like, why? I'm like, I think I'm having a heart attack. Yeah,
Wow.
you're not driving. You might kill somebody. I will drive you. Not only did she drive me, but she stayed. The good news is I didn't have a heart attack. Thank goodness. What had happened was I had an allergic reaction to a round of antibiotics, which was actually my third round because I had been suffering from chronic bronchitis.
Oh wow.
And I was tired of coughing, and I was tired of not being able to finish a sentence because in my role as a exec in Silicon Valley, I
Mhm.
had lots of presentations and events I needed to be at, and I was so tired of it. So in the emergency room, I didn't just rule out a heart attack. I kept getting that presentation done, and around midnight, I took a picture of myself and my colleague and sent it to my boss
Mhm.
and said, "Hey, you can count on me no matter what. Presentation will be ready tomorrow."
Right.
I was really proud. I get it done, right? Really proud.
Yeah.
Well, my husband, not so proud. My daughter, freaking out, 2 years old daughter, like, where's mama? Where's mama?
Mhm.
Right. So got the presentation done the next day, right? All is well. And I look at that picture now, Bob, and I realize that wasn't a badge of honor or a moment of pride, right? That's burnout. That's like loss of clarity on what matters most. That's putting work above everything else. And I love my work. And yet, this oxygen mask thing people talk about, putting that on,
Mhm.
there was no oxygen mask in my world. There was like, hey, I need a different round of antibiotics because this isn't working.
Mhm.
So from that time, I started paying attention. I ended up taking a medical leave. I rebooted from burnout. I got a therapist. I got a nutritionist. I slept a lot. I did a lot of self discovery. And instead of leaving my job because I felt broken and, embarrassed, I went back and I would change the game. And I stayed for over a year in that same exact role, and I showed up differently. And so from there, I just had this calling that we as a society, as a culture in tech, we need more way showers on what is possible. So you
Mhm.
don't just have to pick. You can actually have it all. You just have to do it differently.
Yep.
And so I formed RLD Group with my business partner and spouse, my husband. And RLD Group stands for Rebooting Leadership Drive, right? We are about helping leaders in tech get great results at work and not burn out. Be people leaders you want to follow and still have a family or home life. It's really about elevating the game. And honestly, it's about, stopping burnout from happening. And that's very pervasive right now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's dangerously pervasive. So I can't even speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it's one of the reasons why I love Dr. Irene so much.
Mhm.
She's doing what you're doing, but at a different level with first responders, right?
Yep.
So I think it's all very necessary stuff. So that's amazing. So talk about some of the people that you're dealing with and how you're helping them a little
Yeah. Well, can I dispel a myth first and I'll tell you an example why? Would that be all right?
bit. Sure. Yeah.
I'm one of those like contrarians, right?
Yeah.
So everyone says burnout is the problem. I disagree.
Mhm.
I think burnout is a symptom. And I say that from my own experience and with the clients that we support. The culture, the decision making to manage revenue through layoffs,
Mhm.
right? The we'll replace you tomorrow. Everything's important. Work 24/7. The culture that is pervasive in tech, I believe, is at the root of what's really happening.
Yeah.
And that burnout happens when people feel like they don't have a choice.
Mhm.
That, I'm going to lose my job, so I better just keep going. I can't possibly ask for help, or they're going to give the project to someone else. I have unlimited time off, but I'm not going to use it because the next assignment might be given to someone else. There's this like fundamental cultural issue that's going on, which is always on, never good enough, we'll replace you tomorrow. And so as much as we want to talk about burnout and we want to give everyone, a breathing class and a resilience class, I think everybody's pretty flippin' resilient, right? The people that I work with are extremely resilient and they're tired and they don't feel safe to ask for what they want and they don't know how to push back. So we spend a lot of times on communication and influence skills, a tremendous amount of time on what I'll call self-care, which isn't massages, it's hydration,
Mhm.
it's breaks between your meetings, it's agendas required before you go to a meeting, right? We really take a look at the infrastructure and the way that the systems are set up so we can get to that root, because the people in tech didn't go into tech to just do a job. They want to change the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like, oh, it's just a job. No, like this is something that really matters that can have a tremendous impact. And yet, I think as stewards of our own journey, we have to figure out with help, how to navigate that environment to turn it around so you can be successful and not be a statistic.
Yeah. And I would also argue that I think it's gotten far worse since the pandemic.
I agree. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm just making you tongue tied today. It's
Uh-huh.
awesome.
Yeah, no, I think it has. I think, we've proven to higher ups or owners of organizations or the C levels, the C suite of which I'm one of them,
Yep.
that we can work remotely, no problem. But the
Mhm.
problem with working remotely all the time is that mean work is always there.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
Can't sleep at night, go work.
Mhm.
You got a break from dinner, go upstairs and work because you want to take care. It's always just one more thing. So I mean, your type of coaching is definitely what's needed.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I will tell you, when you think about this blend of home and work just becoming one of everything, people cope through alcohol, they cope through retail therapy, but you know what? They cope through work too,
Yeah.
right? They do. And when you have like no control, lockdown, shutdown, nothing going on, you're going to go work because at least you can get that like fix, that dopamine hit of completing something.
Mhm.
And it's just, it's a hamster wheel. You're on a path to the emergency room
Yeah.
at some point for
Yeah.
whatever's going on in your own world, right?
Yep.
And yeah, so we work a lot with organizations to look at the organizational structures, the systems, the people. This last year, we spent a lot of time as an RLD group has spent a lot of time helping organizations really hone those communication skills so that connection can happen when you're remote.
Mhm.
We facilitated team events that are not boring Zoom meetings, but true co-created collective wisdom generators. We've run workshops. I've done keynote speaking. I mean, we're really on a mission here. And this next phase that we're about to go into with what everyone's calling return to work, which I'm like, return to office. Let's just clear that one up, right? Not everyone has an office to return to, but for those that do, that's what's going on. I think we are headed for the next big epidemic, which is even more women leaving the workforce.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. I can see that amongst the people that work with me and for me, part of it. I always hesitate saying that they're working for me, right?
Totally. I know we're in it together,
We're
right?
in it together. We're a team. So
Yep.
I see that among my teammates, especially the female teammates who are so stressed out. I've
Mhm.
got teammates that are starting at 4:30 in the morning, right? Working all the way to 7:30, 8:30, 9:30 at night and on the weekends because there's so many deadlines that they got to hit. And because we're short staffed, right? But business is starting to ramp up again,
Mhm.
they're not getting the help they need because can't afford it right now. So they're still diving in, and which is great, and I applaud them for that. But I keep telling them, you got to show yourself some grace.
Mhm.
Give take a breather. I mean, our business is important. Yes, everybody's business is important, but we're not curing cancer. No, we're not
Yeah.
dealing with life and death situations. If
Yeah.
we finish this one thing today, you can finish it tomorrow. We'll get through it.
Yeah.
You,
Well, it
you
sounds
find
like
that that's a large part of it.
I think, yeah, what I'm hearing you say is you're creating a safe space for people to be human, which is really, I mean, what I'm about. I always talk about putting the human back into tech, right? You're talking about being human and having flaws and having life outside of work. What I definitely am seeing this too. And what I know is on my podcast the other day, I had a guest on, she's a sleep, we call her the sleep detective. And I was just talking to her, like, what's going on? And she's like, well, right now, women in general, not to
Mhm.
say that there aren't men in this situation too, in general, women are spending 98 hours a week working. Now, that is home and work. It's all
Right.
together, right?
Mhm.
So if you think about being on and engaged and intentional and for 98 hours a week, things are going to get missed, mistakes are going to happen, and then you're going to beat yourself up. So
Right.
I think fundamentally starting to think of, and again, burnout, but it's not, it's the system, right? The
Mhm.
burnout is so fundamentally, to think about as a leader, I would say to anybody right now, the first question to ask is how might we be as flexible as possible right now for
Mhm.
everybody, not just women, but recognizing that there's this unpaid part of work that happens when you are a mother or a caregiver.
Mhm.
Um, it's not talked about, but it's absolutely real.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
think fundamentally one of the things we need to focus on is better childcare across the board that is you can count on so that when you have that situation, which I had myself, right, that you can make sure that your child is safe and cared for so you can get the work done too that you want to do, but you're not having to choose. And
Yeah.
right now I think we are set up to have to choose.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a shame. That's a shame because so many people see it as a choice between working or no income, right? I mean, it boils down to that. I mean, there was a statistic that I read that something like 70 some odd, almost 80% of working millennials today are living check to check.
Yeah,
So that adds to the stress too of not, you know, putting aside for giving yourself the grace to put that aside. You know what I mean?
exactly. Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
if you're in an always on, never good enough, will replace you tomorrow, living check by check, guess what you're going to prioritize,
yeah,
right? And your stress levels are going to go up and the demands exceed your resources. So therefore you're not in a way to be innovative or creative. You get foggy brained and cynical and frustrated and you keep it all to yourself. And then you get siloed and you don't ask for help. And here we are.
yeah,
Like it's not, it's so funny. I was talking to someone the other day. It's like, it's not rocket science, it's human science. But I think we miss it because we're all in this collective fog and collective experience that to just slow down and go, we're not wired to make, we are not hired to make widgets. We are hired to use our brains, and our brains need time to reboot, just like our computer or our phone. Our batteries are our batteries are red,
right.
and you can't be your best when your battery's red.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So Lisa, thank you very much for being on the show. This is an interesting conversation, and what I want to suggest now is that we do a live because I think this is a conversation that needs to be extended. Number one,
Sure.
and number two, I'd like to invite the listeners, the viewers, whatever we want to put it, to
Yeah.
come in and maybe ask some questions. Would you be okay with
Oh,
that?
I love it. Yes, I love
Cool.
questions.
So
I love it, love it, love it. Happy to do it. Yeah,
we'll
I would.
try and
That would be great.
schedule. Yeah. So for all you out there watching this now, we'll try and schedule this for within the next couple of weeks. I'll make sure I put announcements out there. But in the meantime, Lisa is definitely one connection that can change a life. That's my tag. I try to say that as often as I can,
I love
and,
it.
and I truly believe that. So you need to connect, follow, and engage with Lisa today. Share this video so we get her message out there, especially for those of you in my network that are part of the tech world. Right, I see it happening in my own life with my own teammates and friends going through it. So it's a good thing. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Mm.
Have yourself a wonderful day.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Bob.